indeed. We couldn't do the normal introductions because there's still one match going on in the last 64. Robbie Capito from Hong Kong and Dennis Grabber on table 9. A hill at 10-10, so we couldn't have too much noise.
Steve Yapp wins the line.
Players weren't heralded into the arena as they normally are, but I'm sure the standard of play from these two will more than make up for it. I'll give you the Capito Grabber result as soon as I know it, and then we'll have the last 32 lineup complete. So earlier today, Jeremy and I were commentating as Aloysius Yapp came through a 3-hour marathon.
Mr. Yapp, 2 breaks.
Chris Melling. He didn't look comfortable at times, but I thought he showed a pretty good attitude towards the end, and he had a good run of the ball at precisely the right time.
Yeah, much better break off there than he saw the entire match against Chris. And talked about the break in that match. You know, I thought that Yapp was stressing a little bit more than I've ever seen him really do so in any match. But when you're not breaking the balls well, it can be stressful because, you know, it's like I said before, it's hard to run off and run away from your opponent without balls down on the break. And he's got a great start here against SVB.
If you weren't watching this afternoon, well, the referee, Desislava Boshelova from Bulgaria, felt the need to officially warn Yapp about a soft break. And so he upped the pace, and he certainly did on the break there. And the balls have worked out delightfully. There were so many dry breaks in the Melling match. In the end, I lost count. It was approaching double figures.
Yeah, at least 9. We saw that graphic, and interesting enough that Chris brought up the point of maybe a little bit suspect with the speed of the break from Yapp, and we had talked about he was struggling so much. I don't think I would have brought up anything if I was Chris, and immediately after that was one of Yapp's best breakoffs of the entire match.
As you might have seen in the roundup, Melling led 6-3. Tactically, he was superior at that point. He laid a really good hook early in rack 10. Yapp escaped, hit the 1 ball, fluked it, gained shape on the 2, and from there it was not plain sailing, but the tide radically turned.
And he's got to draw the ball back for the 6 on the side. Shouldn't be a problem. Well, that one really came back easily. He has a little angle to go to the rail, so in prime position here to take the first rack. And like I said earlier, the best break I've seen from Yapp the entire day. Here, what we talked about earlier from Aloysius is his very good cue ball, very consistent. What he does almost always makes sense.
I thought, and I don't know whether you agree, Jeremy, I thought he played slower than normal this afternoon. The pace now, it's not lightning quick, of course it isn't, but I think it's a little quicker than it was by and large against Melling.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think that goes along with what I was talking about earlier as far as him stressing a little more from shot to shot, that, you know, these guys, that's their living. This is the, you know, one of 2 of the biggest titles, and some say the biggest title in the game, and they all want it, but you still have to try and stay as loose as possible. That's when you play your best pool.
You can't get a more encouraging start than that. An explosive break, and he ran out from there. Aloysius Yapp leads Shane Van Boening, the defending champion, 1-0. He's travelling the world, and these days, winning tournaments. US Open runner-up in 2021. On the way to that final, he lost out to Carlo Biotto He defeated Shane Van Boening, got to the last 16 of the World Pool Championship last year. Still only 26 years of age, a big future ahead. One of the reasons he's so dedicated, because he loves the game intensely. There's Van Boening, impassive, just waiting to pounce when he gets the chance.
Yeah, that's why that lag is so big, getting to break the balls first and maybe get some early time at the table. The one thing about Yapp, along with his opponent, who's made this obvious the last 20 years, but so many great talented players out there, very capable in many ways, but it really comes down a lot of times who can keep the brain, and especially a 9-ball pool. And
Break number 2.
both these guys are two of the best at it.
Mr. Yapp. Mr. Yapp to break.
Yeah, much different break to start, that's for sure. Didn't come away with the results, made 2. But his first difficult situation with the rollout push out here in the second rack. Had a couple push outs that got away from him in the last match. Can't afford that against SVB. I think if he rolls out to the jump shot behind
Push
the
out
6,
call.
8, 9, I believe Shane will give it back.
Mr. Van Boening, your option?
He'll look at it, but I kind of feel like Shane won't take it. And he's already passed it. Didn't even have to get out of his chair. I think that's the correct choice. Hats off to Yapp if he buries it, but percentage are a little against him. Which I think it may have been the second game in the Melling match where he rolled out to a jump shot on the 2. Made an incredible hit there and ran out afterwards. So.
He's got this really distinctive way of lining a jump shot up. The cue is so close to the cue ball, and then he pulls it back.
Pretty good effort there, and another reason why Shane passed it. Not many balls down there to really get a roll and maybe get a snooker off of a miss, something like that. Great effort, but just difficult when you have to go to the air.
Although he's been dominant, Van Boening, not the first time he's been 1-0 down in a match. He was 1-0 down in his opening contest against Masato Yoshioka. Might well have been 2-0 down. Yoshioka missed the 8 ball, and then from there on it was one-way pool.
Yeah, Shane really feeds off of, making these tough shots early. Slid that one in. And I really think one of the best things for Shane here in the last year or so is just the stroke has gotten better. Even sweeter or cleaner, as some say. Difficult little rack, just because if you get a little out of line, you have to deal with some impeding balls. He's going to come back for the 5 and the side, and that could get a little tricky getting on the 6, especially if he ends up short. And this is what I was talking about. If he has to deal with the 7, you may see him end up banking this 5 ball, Phil, which has everything to do with the cue ball. Maybe draw off the 7, maybe, I don't know. I would consider the bank shot myself. Anything else, you're going away from the 6, and you're having to try and figure out how much 7 ball you're going to contact. Where's it going to send me? Now that's what he's trying to calculate now, but the thing is, you can do your best, but how you hit the 5 to the pocket has every bit to do with how much 7 you contact, how much speed's on the ball. If he takes on the bank shot, it's a little tougher shot to pocket, but the cue ball would be a little better. Oh, he drew off the 7 nicely. And all that is gut instinct, a little feel of what's going on. And he needs to draw back for an angle. I'm not so sure the 8 passes the 9 to the lower right. Oh, he came back for the side. It's gotten a little bit funny. I was surprised he didn't just draw back a couple inches there and take the 7 in the upper left and come across for the 8 in the lower left. 8 passing the 9 sure helps his situation. He's just hitting the ball so clean.
Betwixt and between, as they say.
Yeah, I think he was stuck in between. I think at first he was going to draw to the side rail, which I thought that's what he was doing. Going forward looked a little odd to me. Now twice up off the ball, which is not very common for SVB. He's got to take on the cut shot.
Nicely done. One positional malfunction, but it didn't matter in the end. That's the equaliser. Shane Van Boening back at 1-1. This man, the CV, it knows no bounds. He's won over 100 titles in his career. He's the reigning world 9-ball champion. At 39 years of age, he's got many productive years left. And he added to his list of titles already in 2023 at the recent Derby City Classic on those 10 by 5 foot tables. He won the Bigfoot 10-ball challenge, beating Konrad Jozushin in the final by 11 racks to 7. By the way, I can tell you the last 64 is now complete. Dennis Grabber from Estonia, he's celebrating an 11-10 victory over Robbie Capito from Hong Kong. So Grabber grabs the last place in the last 32.
Yeah, and I talked with Dennis yesterday after his match. Played really well, and he said he had a little talk with himself after a couple games, and it sounded pretty positive. I could kind of read Shane's lips there, telling John Lehman, make sure people aren't kind of coming from nowhere and moving while I'm down on the shot. So as much as we like to think he's from another planet, he is human.
And as anyone who plays Q Sports
Back
at a high
number
level
3,
knows,
we are all tied at 1 game apiece.
Disruptive.
Mr. Van Boening to break.
Yeah, and some things it's weird. You can sometimes walk by and just continue walking by and it's fine. But if you stop, it's almost like worse. Look at this one ball hanging. Wow, look at that. So the one got kissed. So you have to put Yapp as a little underdog in this match, even though I'm not sure if they played since that U.S. Open a couple years ago where Yapp got the best of him, but that would be pretty much anyone in the tournament a hair of an underdog.
They haven't played, and I'll tell you why. I spoke to Shane Van Boening after his win this afternoon over Yanni Uski, and he said the last time he played me, he beat me. And there was menace in the voice.
Yeah, this is where you would like to go rail first, but this ball's very, very deep. I don't think you catch the point, but if you do, you may not come across the table like, you're suspecting. I think the rail first is okay. Just don't hit it too hard. Just kind of let it coast over to the left side of the table. for maybe a little longer 2-ball like that. Yeah. That's got a little pace to it. It's going to be okay, though.
Yeah, just to give you a little more detail about that meeting in the US Open, it was in 2021, our first visit to Harrah's Resort in Atlantic City. Yapp was playing some inspired pool. He'd beaten the likes of Wojciech Szewczyk and Joshua Filler. He came up against Shane Van Boening in an identical race to this, a race to 11, and he beat Van Boening 11-5. It wasn't as though SVB had a bad match. It was more to do with Yapp being right on top of his game.
Yeah, Yapp did that to many players that we talked about earlier. It took an exceptional Carlo Beato to derail Yapp getting a U.S. Open early in his career. All kinds of incredible matchups going on here in the first stage of the final 32.
And what an incredible start for Dong Quoc Hoang from Vietnam. 3-0 up already on Wojciech Szewczyk. Szewczyk's supporters silenced him.
Yeah, well, I haven't seen him at the table yet. You know, that's not too far from where we're at here in the comms. But I really haven't seen him out of the chair. It looks like he's got a kind of like light stun draw with a little right English. He can't get super close, it doesn't appear, to the 5, but super close isn't needed. Well done. You can see the real work from the 6 to the 7.
You watch the technique of Yapp, which is really solid. And you won't be surprised to know he does play snooker. He was the Singapore national snooker champion in 2021, actually. And to win that, he beat a former world billiards champion, that's English billiards, Peter Gilchrist, in the final.
This shows you he's going to have to shoot the 8 from near the rail, so it's all about gaining the angle you desire to move the cue ball off the 8 to the 9. A lot of times the guys won't go forward and get that angle. They'll go ahead and stop the ball, maybe come back an inch and make sure they get exactly what they want. It's pretty comfortable going forward. That's ideal, but not necessary. So a couple things happening early in this match that we haven't seen as much today. First, a very good break off and a run out from Yapp, and another nice break, but didn't work out. But then a dry break from Shane. How often have we seen that? Obviously, his score lines will tell you that hasn't happened very much.
So then, Aloysius Yapp taking a 2-1 lead over Shane Van Boening. I was telling you about that last 64 match that's just been completed. Oh, Robbie Capito on the 9. He couldn't quite cut it in. And that gave Dennis Grabber the opportunity to get over the line. Dennis, the menace again. And afterwards, we caught up with the man from Estonia.
Dennis, you have just won an absolute grueler. 3.5 hours. Hail, hail. Tell us about it.
I mean, it's a brutal game, you know. I'm cruising. I'm 8-3 up. I didn't make any mistakes. Suddenly, I miss 1 7-ball, and that's it. I never get to shoot until 10-9. I come 10-10. In the end, it wasn't pretty, but I got the win. That's the most important thing.
Tell us about the Hill rack. How was you feeling? I can see the emotion in your face.
I was so nervous. I mean, I landed funny on the 8-ball and I almost scratched. I played the wrong shot there. You know, it's brain freeze. I don't know. I don't even remember what happened.
You've not got much time left until your last 32. Are you going to be okay?
Yeah, I'm going to be fine now. I have like a free roll. But I played really good. I'm happy with my game. I'm confident. But just at the end, like, he came back so strong. He played amazing also.
Listen, Dennis, I'm going to let you go. I don't want to keep you too long because obviously I know you've got another match to prepare for. The other matches have started. Buddy, good luck. Well done.
Thanks.
Dennis Grabber suffering brain freeze, he said, with the temperatures outside. I think everything's freezing. We all had a text on our mobile phones about an hour ago saying
current score is 2-1.
expect heavy snow.
Yeah.
Mr. Yapp.
Well, that's what I kind of touched on. The players that can keep the brain, that's going to be a huge part in hoisting this trophy. And really, that's something that Dennis usually leans on, I think. We saw him play a very efficient match last night where he played some safeties at times and wondering, should he have stayed aggressive or not, but it worked out, and now into the final 32. And tell 2 stories with the break shot for Yapp here from the match earlier. He's made a ball on the break each of his first 3, and now another good opportunity to maybe clear the table. So often in 9-ball pool, the first shot is the funny one. When these guys get in line with the cue ball, they do really well. You can't quite draw by the 5 to stay underneath the 8. I don't think that line is really there. High ball, he's going into the 5. He may have to just go with like a high right English. I don't even know if that gets by the 5, and go at the 2 with the cue ball.
Coming into this match, Shane Van Boening had won 29 racks for the loss of only 6. 9-2, 9-2, 11-2. So Yapp is providing the most stout resistance he's faced so far, and he's won only 2 racks, Yapp. Well, that's the extent of Van Boening's dominance in the championship to this point.
Yeah, Alex Laley was asked the question earlier, and maybe he hasn't got to watch Shane play, and I know Alpin played a fine one today, but in my mind, it's not even close who's been the best in this tournament so far. And that is the guy in the chair, Shane Van Boening. Odd little shot here. And it was just always hard because he had to get the draw on the ball to get by the 5. So when you're getting into the ball with draw from distance, hard to contain the speed. And I think he got a little off angle on this bank. It's close. If he can bank this, he can draw back for the 3 and the 4 near. So the one thing Shane can rely on, even if he falls behind, is how well he's played, and he gets so motivated behind the winter break format. You know, he can overcome things, but he's got to get that shot first.
Of course, this was the round 10 months ago in Milton Keynes where he overcame massive adversity. 10-3 down to Mika Immonen, 1-11-10. He doesn't own a white flag, and if he did, he wouldn't wave it.
No. We'll see if he gave up a piece of this. He didn't. I don't think he did what he wanted with the cue ball, but the 2 is ideal. So we're going to see a kick shot to the right side rail, I believe anyways. It looks like the 7's in the way of the opposite long rail. Maybe he can come above it. He can certainly hit before the side on the right side rail. It's not bad at all. And actually, that way offers the cue ball to escape up table. If you kick by the 7, the cue ball's probably coming into the 3 and 9. This way, he can maybe get some separation. Might make this as well. Yeah, you see the separation there, the cue ball tracking up the clear side of the table.
Not not spectacular, but extremely efficient. One of the best shots of the match so far, in my opinion, and it could turn things around, because if Van Boening does get the break back, he can put together a real package. 5 break and run outs in his first match consecutively. 5 break and run outs in total in his second. And against Yanni Uski, the break off was working very well also.
Yeah, Yanni, he just didn't have the confidence, and I think he's a kid that really believes in himself, and it just didn't see it in that match. Of course, Shane Van Boening has a lot to do with that. Odd little shot here. He wants to play rail first, I believe, not ball first. Maybe kick the 2 back out to the in rail like that. He got underneath it much more than he anticipated. And here's the opening. Now Shane's got to pay attention here. Excuse me, Phil. Just because the 5 doesn't pass the 8, so gaining proper position on the 4, pretty crucial.
I was just going to say, Van Boening licking his chops like a yard dog when he's thrown a bone.
Well, there's a lot of arguments, you know, who's the greatest 9-ball player ever played, this and that, and I've seen quite a few. I was very lucky to see some generations of 9-ball that was pretty amazing, but if someone wants to argue the point of Shane, I can certainly say some names, but it's still hard to win that argument. It's a little light, so he's got a tester kind of from nowhere.
And that's the second time he's played a light positional shot. Remember that awkward 9-ball he had to knock into the middle pocket in the second rack. We had no faith, but it went without touching the sides.
Yeah, well, when he's in stroke and really feeling like, his best form, a lot of us, when we leave ourselves there, right, we're not too happy and it really affects the shot, but he can leave it behind.
You get the feeling from what we've seen so far, this could be a really good contest. It certainly could not be any tighter than it is right now. It's 2-2, 4-3 down.
Mr. Van Boening, to break.
After this break, I'll give you the other scores of the matches in progress right now. Well, first of all, I'll let Jeremy dissect that one.
Seemed a little more steam into that one after a dry break in game number 3. He's made 2 on the break. It appears he has a very nice shot on the 3 in the side. The 4 passes, I think, I don't know. Thought the 4 went up by the 6 easily, but now he's got to work the cue ball a little bit. I think he's going to end up coming 1 rail with a little like middle left stun here off the top cushion. Certainly not going to play this 3 in the corner. Looks, if he wraps the corner with a high ball, I think that really involves the 5 here. Maybe he's just coming to the center of the table. All right, he's going with that inside, and he missed it because the cue ball, I mean, that he was really playing the cue ball. I'm surprised he really didn't come 1 rail back behind the 4. And you see how the cue ball was tracking at the 5. Could have got over the 5, even behind it, really. Nice strike there.
Let me quickly give you those other scores. Huang of Vietnam leads Shevchik 5-0 now. 3-2 for Sebastian Patkowski of Poland over James Arenas of the Philippines. 2-0 for Daniel Maciol over Albin Auschen, who's made a slow start for the second time today. And the biggest surprise package of the championship for me, Lars Kuckherm from Germany, 4-1 up on Matthias Snigotsky.
Now this 5-6 combination that we're going to see here in a moment, I don't think the 5 really passes the 6 easily. It's got to contact the 6, but he wants an angle here, I would think. He held. I wonder how he's going to play this, and this tells me maybe the 5 will, kiss off the 6 and go in. Otherwise, he's got a lot of movement on both the cue ball and the 5 after this combination is made. And the 5's got to go towards the 9 and the 8 and all that, so probably a little draw stroke here. Maybe a light one going forward and trying to play the 5 in the opposite corner. Yeah, now the 9's got the pocket covered up. He'll swing at that combo though. I'm not sure what he was really trying, maybe to hold the 5 on the bottom rail, but that was going to be always a difficult play for sure.
Lots of table between 5 and 9, even though the 9's in close proximity to the pocket.
Well, the thing is, it's the type of shot you're not going to roll most of the time anyways. If you're a little closer to the 5 ball, you may, but so the 9's still got to be hit pretty pure. And a little awkward cueing over the pocket, it seems.
We saw this quite often against Melling this afternoon, when he wasn't quite sure, wasn't scared to back away. Never in any doubt whatsoever. And so for the first time in this championship, Shane Van Boening loses 3 racks in a match. At least 3 racks, because Aloysius Yapp is giving as good as he's getting right now. Now let's have a look at table 2, where it is very one-sided right now. Wojciech Shevchik is 5-0 down to Huang, who's already beaten Chris Melling in this tournament. He impressed me on that occasion, and he's impressing now. The Vietnamese player, Jeremy, looking superb.
Yeah, I've been watching him now for a few years, and you wouldn't think he plays as well as he does. He just kind of goes about his business. A hell of a shot maker, excuse me, but just kind of puts the fooler on you a little bit. I thought this was a very dangerous man to play, Daniel Maciol. John kind of just gets on with it, very aggressive. How do they grow them around here so tall anyways?
Incredible, yeah. The reason that's 2-0, by the way, they're not playing slowly. That match started later than the other 7 in this round.
Yeah. Well, Albin, he's not a fast player, but he's not excessive, and Daniel certainly gets on with it.
Well, Maciol and Auschen are playing on the table that was vacated by
our current score is 3-2 in favor of Mr.
Capito.
Yapp. Mr. Yapp to break.
Yeah, much different break off than we saw before, and he's going to love this.
break-off effectiveness from afternoon to evening is chalk and cheese.
Yeah, absolutely. Going to track the cue ball a couple rails up for the 3 in the side. 4 a little covered up, but not too much of a problem. Has he got enough speed? That's enough. He'll play the 4 in the lower right, just going a little forward off the 3. Like he's got a hair of an angle going away from the 5, so he may play short side here. I don't know if he can really push through to play the short pocket on the 5. Maybe. No, certainly can't. So he's got a stun. You wouldn't want to force this 1 rail cross. Just play the natural angle and what it wants to do. Well, he did. Nicely. Made that little angle look easy.
Yapp's breakthrough year was 2021. We've talked about his US Open exploits, that run to the final. He also won the Michigan Open shortly afterwards. Defended the Michigan Open last year when he also won the Sandcastle 9-ball Open. Both of those obviously in the States. And he's well respected over there. No mistake. Shane Van Boening knows he's got a tough task here.
Yeah, the one, besides some shot making, I would say, but the real big advantage, or what you would call an advantage, is probably the break shot. It really hasn't shown its face yet.
So, Aloysius Yapp 4-2 up, doubling up on the defending champion. Now, this is table 3. Max Lechner taking on Johan Chua, the Filipino. He's one of those guys, you just know he's got a deep desire to win. Lechner is 3-2 up at the moment. We say this all the time, especially when we get down to this stage of a tournament, but another match that's so hard to forecast.
100% there, Phil. Definitely one that could be in the 11-9, 11-10 range, and especially if 2 guys perform. And I think Chua is still, at the beginning of every match, still dealing with a little tournament nerves. But like I said earlier in the broadcast, that all the players know what this guy's capable of.
Woo Kun Lin now 5-0 up on Neo Kioi. 5-1 for Lars Kuckham over Matthias Snigotsky. 2-1 for Daniel Maciol over Albin Auschen. 4-4 Mohamed Soufi and Mika Immonen, former champion from Finland, coming back there. 3-3 Sebastian Batkovsky and James Arenas. And it's now 6-0 for Huang over Wojciech Szewczyk.
Break number 7. Our current score is 4-2 in favor of Mr. Yapp. Mr. Yapp to break.
John Lehman, the referee from New Jersey. His distinctive Mr. Yapp and Mr. Van Boening intros.
I think he's got to look at this 1 ball as well. So maybe doing a bit of what Shane's done to the field so far, putting a few racks together.
Not a bad nudge.
No, he didn't hit it anything like he wanted. Wanted to get above the 2. A little fortunate that the cue ball and 2 ball did separate. He's going to be able to go forward above the 5, and when you're close to the ball, really hard to get the top spin to shoot through the ball. So we'll see. It's the kind of ball also that can kick on you a little bit more when you're close to it. Got a lot on that ball. Very comfortable, it seems, Phil.
Helps when you're not intimidated by reputation, and I don't think Yapp is.
No, he does it like most of the great players, just kind of sticks to his business. Cue ball in perfect position now. Just got to check the speed here as he comes to the 8, making sure he doesn't get straight in. Making sure he gets that nice little bounce off the bottom rail.
These are worrying times for the big man on campus. Shane Van Boening, the title holder. His grip on that trophy, is it starting to slip, I wonder? Aloysius Yapp, 5-2 up, almost halfway to victory. And this is there are so many events. These guys are now playing for serious dough.
Yeah, and more coming, and in my opinion, I would like to bet on it, actually, that give it about 2 years and see where it's at. It's going to be something incredible. It's incredible now, and as the players get better.
Our current score is 5-2 in favor of
improving,
Mr. Yapp. Mr. Yapp to break.
I'll tell you, a dangerous guy though. Wang gaining even more confidence now, 7-0 over Wojciech, Szewczak. Oh, that's the one he wanted to stay away from, but that's the gamble with the cut break. Sometimes you fluke the 9 in. Sometimes you get great kisses that get you shots, but there, that was just off to the side, and you could see the arc of the cue ball.
So many matches pivot on a scratch off the break. Jason Shaw was going towards a very simple victory this afternoon. It seems 7-2 up on Aloysius Yapp. Scratched on the break in the 10th rack, and then from there Yapp came back to 7-7. Shaw was under extreme pressure. He coped with it and came through, but that's just one prime example of how a scratch can mean you're sitting down for quite some time, especially when the opposition is provided by SVB.
Yeah, absolutely, but nothing easy here. One of the more difficult layouts with the balls open. 6 on the side rail, 7-8 kind of funny. You have to get kind of straight on the 6 to draw back. You still got to get from the 3 to the 4 to the 5. So a lot going on with this rack, but something about that ball in hand, and not saying Shane's really, you know, dogged it or anything like that, but something about that ball in hand always gets the players going. Yeah, you can see he's trying to get straight in to where he can draw the ball. Didn't get the proper angle on the 3 to where he could use the rails, which is what the guys usually like to do when it comes to position play. He kind of shook his head there. It looked like it was okay to me. And now he's thinking about that 6, 7, 8 situation. And that tells him, do I want to draw all the way back to somewhat straight on the 5 so I can play the 6 up long and follow into position on that 7? Or do I want to gain an angle on the 5 to get above the 6? I like him coming all the way back and playing the 6 up long. He's going to play for the angle, it looks like, so he's going to have to get... No, he came back. I think this is the smarter play. And the reason why, you're going to guaranteed get pretty heavy on this 6. So it's up to you to just bury a big shot with the 6 going down the rail, and position should be fair. Got a little more angle. This is odd. I don't know what he's going to do here. Is he going to hit it light and take a big cut shot on the 7? Is he going to go down and underneath the 7? Oh, really cleanly struck. And look how much he got out of the cue ball. Wow.
I think the word is class. World class.
Yeah, definitely pure class. Whatever you want to call it.
Scratching against Shane Van Boening is not recommended. Aloysius Yapp reminded of that in that particular rack. Nevertheless, he leads by 5 racks to 3.
Not sure what he has here, but I talked about it earlier. His earlier match, of course, Yanni didn't play the match he wanted, but SVB just seemed to come with a tough shot after the break time and time again, and now he's faced with another with the 4 on the side. He's kind of got to roll the ball a little bit here. I'm not sure if he gets into the 7 or not. It's close. Blind pocket. Really nice. And I don't think we're going to see really any mistakes from both these guys. I mean, we saw one early from Shane that he'd like to have back, but it's going to be, you know, who kicks out of the safeties, who avoids the scratches on the brakes, and stuff like that. I don't think it's going to be high quality otherwise.
The pace of play, the way the racks are going by, it's so much quicker than Yapp's match against Milling this afternoon, because the break-off is working, whereas this afternoon it was one dry break after the next.
Yeah, and on top of that, Phil, the incoming player really didn't have shots after those dry breaks either. There was a lot of tactical play and really fun to watch at times, but no one ever really got in rhythm.
So Yapp's scratch on the break in the 8th rack has cost him 2, and as I suggested he might be, he's sitting there unable to move, hoping that Van Boening makes some kind of error on his break in rack 10 coming up. How about this from Woo Kun Lin? 8-0 up on Naukioi. Now this is table 14, where Sebastian Batkowski from Poland, he made an encouraging start, but he's now 5-3 down to James Aranas of the Philippines. That 9-ball, no issue. So Aranas going well. The other Filipino, Johan Chua, not so. He's 5-3 down to Max Lechner on table 3. And Huang from Vietnam now 7-1 up on Shevchik. Mohamed Soufi has just retaken the lead against Mika Immonen at 6-5. And Albert Auschen, after that early blip, temporary blip, is 4-2 up on Daniel Masseon.
Rack number 10, our current score is 5-4 in favor of Mr. Yapp. Mr. Van Boening to break.
The thing about Shane's break, and I think only Kachi really comes close, is how much for a cut break he unloads and doesn't lose the cue ball off the table. You know, if you just took like some, you know, semi-pro, maybe good amateurs, really good amateurs, and made them break what looks like 80%, 70% in half the one, you'd be trying to find the cue ball all over the arena until they got used to it, and Shane just does it over and over in the biggest moments. Like, even the rest of the field, just go take a poll on how many wants to try and break like that.
Now this is table 2. We were telling you about Duong Kwok Huang against Wojciech Szewczyk. The interesting thing with this is that the winner of that match plays either Van Boening or Yapp next.
Looks like Shane has got to play a safety here, trying to put the 2 a little bit underneath the 8. Cue ball opposite side rail.
Wang wins the rack.
Is he cutting this in? Wow. I think he's cutting this in. And I think what his mentality is right now, and that's some pretty good respect for the man from Singapore, is he doesn't want to allow Yapp to kick out of a safety. He doesn't want to allow things to happen without his hand involved. So he feels very good about maybe taking on the cut, going 4 rails for another tough cut on the 3. Yeah, now he looks a little calmer with the pre-stroke, so I'm thinking maybe the safety. Well, I don't know, he's taking dead aim. Yeah, and beautiful cue ball, only to take on another tough shot. You don't think these pool players like to stay aggressive?
It's also the innate knowledge of angles. You'd expected the amount of racks he's played in his life, but nevertheless it's still impressive to watch.
Well, I don't know if you noticed the 2 cut a little thick, but that was kind of on purpose, just so the cue ball tracked how he wanted. and not saying to himself, oh, I got to hit it thick, but it's just kind of like inherent kind of thing that happens. All right, he's got to coast by the 8 maybe. And what Shane does on a lot of those shots, you see him get up and down. He'll get down on the ball, trying to find the line he wants for the cue ball that agrees with pocketing the ball. And then once he likes it, he'll get back up off of it and then go ahead and get down and go through his process.
I'm not saying it was looking bleak. It was 5-2 down, but it was looking a wee bit worrying, wasn't it? And then the scratch happened and everything is just completely turned on its head.
Well, I mean, if you're an SVB fan or somebody that's watched him so much, you know, the way he started this event, you could label what 4-2 or 5-2 looked like compared to the other matches were a breeze, right? There were a lot of words you could have used, and bleak was definitely one of them. He's going to pound this to the rail a little bit. Don't let it get away from you. Oof. That's that quick backswing that comes in every now and again. Almost had him overcut that ball. And I'll tell you, one thing I think Shane has more of than ever is more resolve and patience.
Well, he's patiently got back onto level terms. Now, that's what Mika Immonen needs on table 6, patience. He's up against Mohamed Soufi, trying his level best to remain on the heels of his opponent, and that's what he's doing. He's come through some real nail-biters as Mika Immonen so far this week, and maybe this is going to be another one. Nevertheless, the Syrian leads 7-6. It's a winter wonderland outside, and it's a wonderland for Woo Kun Lin indoors. He leads Naoki 9-0.
And as well as Oi's been playing, it seems like for 2 to 3 years, you got to figure he hasn't had a lot of time at the table.
Max Lechner 6-3 up on Johan Chua, as John Lehman puts these balls back on the table precisely. Huang from Vietnam now 8-1 up on Wojciech Szewczyk. And it's 4-4, Daniel Massillon and Albin Ocean.
Bracket number 11, we are currently tied 5 games apiece. Mr. Van Boening to break.
Yeah, Massillon, I really like his temperament at the table as well. This is unlucky here, the cue ball getting dead pinned. Now, he got a little fortunate there that the 6 covered up the pocket to where he can roll out to the top rail. But it's, again, it's just, I mean, I've seen it now for a couple of years, but it's still amazing to me how often he makes the one hitting it that hard.
Just there, Jeremy, you said, got a little lucky, the 6 blocking the 2 and all that kind of stuff. You compute that in a split second after a break. It's amazing to me how you do it. It really is. I know you've been around the game for years, but nevertheless, that's very impressive.
Well, you drive about 100,000 miles a year on the road back in the day thinking about pull, every scenario.
Push out cold.
And I still haven't even come close to every scenario. That's how dynamic the game is. He's rolling out to the jump. So this is what I talked about with it comes to Shane. There's a lot of the top rail to go to, and let's have a tactical exchange. But he'd rather put the pressure on you and say, if you don't like it, I do, and I plan on burying it. I don't think Yapp passes this.
You might have seen the graphic there. This match could not be tighter. 5-5 in racks and 45 balls potted each.
Yeah, well, I think Yapp's learning a little bit from Shane right here, and that he's got to put it in his own hands a little bit, just like the cut shot Shane took on in the last rack. And the other thing, Shane, though, you know, Shane's very good tactically as well, so I'm not surprised he rolled out to the jump so much field, but I'm surprised he did it quickly. Okay, you got to aim a little thicker on these usually because the cue ball's usually in the air a little bit, so the ball becomes easier to cut, or cuts easier rather. If he lands on this, he could come into the 6 with the cue ball. Yeah, you see how it cuts easier? You have to aim thicker on a lot of those jumps because you're not hitting in the equator, you're hitting above it as the cue ball's in the air.
And so Van Boening's gamble pays off.
I think it was correct for him to take it, though. That being Yapp. Oof. Kind of squeezed that one home a little bit. Pocket speed. And Wang, I think, with another on his side, putting on a clinic for the Polish fans, unfortunately against one of their top players.
Yeah, it's 9-1 there for Wang. We've got the World Cup of Pool coming up later in the year, and if Vietnam are involved, surely he has to be involved.
Absolutely, he's the best player. And they have some really, really good players, I mean, great players, and it's amazing how that country has come along in about 10 years. Back in the day, if you drew a Vietnam player, you felt pretty, or Vietnamese player, you felt pretty good about it. Now, not so much the case. All right, he's just got to worry about getting straight in, coming a couple rails, and on the rail with the cue ball. That way he can get from the 8 to the 9. He's going to play 4 rails to make sure he's off the rail with the cue ball.
And bear in mind, Aloysius Yapp won the first rack. He won the third to go 2-1 up. Van Boening hasn't led, I was about to say until now, but there's an element of doubt just crept in. Only a small element, mind you.
Yeah, big favorite, but did want a little bit easier 9-ball.
Yeah, Van Boening leads for the first time in the contest. He was 5-2 down at his lowest point. Now, with 4 racks in succession, he's gone in front at 6-5. It's so important for Aloysius Yapp not to become downhearted. Now, over on table 9, Albin Auschen is under pressure against Daniel Maciel. 5-4 to the Polish youngster, who just continues to pot balls. We thought when Auschen went 4-2 up from 2-0 down, it might be a case of running away. Not so, absolutely not. The counter has come from Daniel.
Well, with all these great players left, and as Carl and Alex talked about, with the format, the pocket size, everything really coming together as far as 9-ball pool. If both players perform, you're going to have close matches. Very hard to run away.
Other scores, Mohamed Soufi, 2 in front now against Mika Immonen at 8-6. Sebastian Badkowski and James Arenas locked together at 5-5. Lars Kukum 6-5 up on Matthias Nigotsky. And finally, belatedly, you'd have to say, Naoki Oi has won a rack against Wu Kun Lin, but he trails 9-1. And for many, I think they would install this as the performance of the round so
rack
far.
Number 12.
Huang 9-1 up on Wojciech Szewczyk.
Mr. Van Boening to break.
I was so impressed with him when he played Melling early on in the tournament, and I remain so. He could be a dark horse.
Absolutely, and he's kind of, a lot of the players know him now. Look at this, the 9 over the side, snookered. Big moment in the match here. Shane, can he get at the 9 to maybe move it and leave the 1 tough? Does he have a sliver of the 1 here? Well, that's 4 kisses, I think, on the 9 there. Max Lechner puts another on his side, but a couple, 2 or 3 of those games that he has this lead with have been pure gifts from Johan Chua. Just a little mistake here and there from nowhere. Well, if he can see this, he might warp this banking across side. Wow, there you have it.
The South Dakota shotmaker. That was simply spectacular from Shane. Superb. He leads 7-5, and what a way to bring it up. That 1-9 combination via a bank. Brilliant stuff from the defending champion.
Wang, I tell you, might not be that well known.
Mr. Van Boening.
But watch out for him. He's a real talent.
Well, I'll tell you, he missed the one in the side. Not very often. Did get one down and does come away with a shot. Well, it wasn't that long ago, maybe 2 years ago, maybe a year and a half, 2 years ago, where the players really started to respect Wang and realize how good a player he was. And now the Polish fans, I think, have just gained a ton of respect for him because he just put on an exhibition against one of their countrymen.
And he now awaits the winner of this.
Tricky little shot with inside spin here. Yeah, I thought he may catch the 8. Now he's got a funny little 2-ball, and this is the only reason why. When he shoots the 3-8 combo, if that's what he plays, he doesn't want a ton of angle on this because the 3 will fall away and the cue ball will go into the 5. So I think it may be something like, we'll see how he plays the 2, but I wouldn't get too involved with trying to move the cue ball a whole lot off the 2. Now Shane's a different beast than me, that's for sure. But it may be something like he shoots the 3-8 with a lot more speed than you would anticipate. Now we'll see what he does here. Okay, so can he fall forward because the 5 being there and let the 3 escape, not ended up on top of it, something like that? He wants to stay offensive. I wouldn't be surprised he pounds this in. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to come away with a shot here. Not a real controlled one. That's why I say he may pound it in, trying to get a lot of movement on the 3 ball. This is tricky. If he goes with a high ball, like I said, I think he may end up on top of it if he hits it easy. Okay, he tried to get some separation and did pretty well. Good thing he can come straight up the middle of the table for the pink in the right middle.
Yeah, to the uninitiated, this looks like a tough pot, but for these guys, it isn't.
No, this is just all about don't let up. The ball slides nicely. You're hitting the ball great. And maybe some of Shane's biggest credit is he rarely kind of guides the cue. He's always attacking. That doesn't mean hitting the ball hard all the time, but just commits. We've lost the man that started our event, Wojciech Szewczak, but he's got to hold his head high. I know that score line isn't what he wanted, but it was just one heck of a match from Wang.
He knows everything that's going on, Shane Van Boening, at the tournament. Comes in, watches how the table is breaking, looks around at potential challenges and problems from other players. Who's shooting hot? And no doubt he will know that Wang lies in wait next as he gets a nice nudge there on the 7, and this run of racks looks set to continue.
Yeah, could have ended up on top of the 7. Much worse after bumping it, but
It's 6 of the best from Shane Van Boening. He was 5-2 down. Then, in the 8th rack, Aloysius Yapp scratched on the break, and ever since it's been one-way traffic.
This tournament has got great history, and in the last decade, so many giants of the game have prevailed. Now, it was annoying, to say the least, for Shane Van Boening that he kept getting close and didn't quite seal the deal. He was beaten in the final in 2015 and 2016 by Ko Pin Yi and Albin Aushin, respectively. But last year, finally, he got his hands on the trophy. And you know, that squared the circle in many respects, because he's got 5 US Open titles, so too is the great Earl Strickland. And Strickland was the inaugural champion of the world 9-ball in 1990 in Bergheim, Germany. He beat Jeff Carter by 3 sets to 1, and then the following year in Las Vegas defended the title, overcoming another American, Nick Varner. In fact, Americans won the first 3 world championships, because in Taipei, Taiwan in '92, the kingpin was Johnny Archer. Great scene here, of course, for the first 5 sessions of this championship. 16 tables were in operation. Now it's 8.
Rack number 14. Our current score is 8-5.
And so the crowd is concentrated around a smaller amount of tables, and the atmosphere is improved even more.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, it just seems like he's smoking them even more. Every rack 2's going to spin. Now let's see how aggressive he wants to stay. This is a difficult one to cut at. And the only reason being is the position. Hard to get position on the pink 4. Could flick it in with a hair left trying to contact the 4, but I think that makes the 2 very missable. If he wanted to go offensive here, it'd like to be a straight ball. Oh, look at this. He's going. He may be sizing it up. Yeah, that's what I was going to say. That he does that a lot. He'll get down to feel the line. Does he like it? Now, the thing is, this isn't the shot that really Shane shoots a ton from distance, with a lot of tip position, that being left English. So he did catch the 4, but caught the
foul.
Yeah, had to turn it loose, and we'll see what Yapp can do.
Well, the scratch on the break in the 8th rack turned things around. Could we see the opposite effect here with the scratch from Van Boening? Is this the time for Yapp to make hay?
Well, also what I see with Shane's mentality, which is not too different than normal, but a lot of respect for Yapp, trying to just kind of take it away from him, not letting him come to the table. Very few would have cut at that in this tournament.
It's tough when you've had limited quality table time for an extended period, but yeah, just needs to get his stroke back and start applying pressure of his own.
Yapp's one of those guys, in my opinion, though, and it's very unique. Even though he wants to win this badly, he can sit back and appreciate what just went on for the last 6 racks. He's just that type of kid, and I think it only makes you stronger.
I've got a question from our director,
Oh,
Jeremy, and you are going to answer it because I don't know the answer.
oh,
We call it spin in the UK, applied to the cue ball, either when you screw back or follow through, put side on the ball. You call it English. Why is that?
I'm not sure. I don't know if I know the answer or not. I may have to phone a friend. I thought it had to come from you guys, the English people.
Well, the spin, yeah,
Yeah.
clearly. Maybe this is my pure guess that maybe
I think I've
someone
heard it
from England
before.
came over to America and played all those kind of shots, and
Yeah, that's what I would think, yeah.
But we're not sure, folks. We're not sure.
Well, nice clearance here. It wasn't tough, but a lot of pressure when the guy behind you is SVB.
No English players left in the World Championship, but a Singaporean and an American are giving us a real show here. High quality pool. Van Boening not happy. That scratch cost him. He's now only 8-6 ahead. On table 3, it's a bigger lead for Maximilian Lechner over Jan Chur. 8-3.
And I think we'll see about the last 3 racks here, of course, but I think Max will tell you if he goes on to win. It really wasn't his best match from what I've seen. Just Chua early looked really good, and then all of a sudden started missing balls that you just don't see him miss for months at a time, it seems like. So not sure, maybe something got a little mental with the young man, but now Max Lechner trying to take full advantage.
Lechner, one of 3 Austrians left in the championship. Albin Auschen is another. He's 6-6 with Daniel Masséon. And later on, Mario He will take on Ko Ping Chung. 3 into 2 don't go, so either Lechner or he always misses out at the World Cup. Then you always feel sorry for one or the other, because you know Albin Auschen's going to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Rack number 15, our current score is 8-6.
they're going to maybe produce more Austrian players to, you know, cause more problems for that team. Maybe end up having 2 teams one day. We'll see. Well, I've received my first message on the English. What I got was an Englishman visited the U.S. soon after leather tips were invented. He gave exhibitions showing spin, and people were so impressed they started calling it English shots. So figured it had to do something with you guys.
So our guess was basically correct,
Yeah.
but it was a guess, folks.
Yeah.
By the way, when I was talking about the Austrians there, I might have said 2 into 3 doesn't go. Of course it does. I meant 3 into 2.
Yeah, right.
I can hear my maths teacher from all those years ago turning in his grave.
Awkward situation here. So close to some offensive shots with the 7-5 kind of near the pocket. The 2 not too far away. The cross side bank not terrible. A little covered up by the 4. Now, one thing that Yapp has to do is not get so involved with, you know, Shane's mentality, right? He's got to stick to his own guns. He's a very good tactical player, so. Hard to play safe sometimes with balls hanging, though. You feel like you're going to leave a kick shot that's a little better than normal. Is he going off the left side? Like a gap right here. See, if there's a gap here, and Shane gets off the rail, he can come off the left side, his left side of the 2, and try and pocket the 5. We'll see. Especially with the 7 there, it's almost kind of impossible not to make the 5, I think. Even if you don't go into it directly, I think you go off the 7 into the 5. Now, don't get me wrong, there's some danger with the cue ball, but I think he is going to attack. Now here he's not really drawing. He's kind of ricocheting off the 2 with speed. I think he's supposed to attack as well. Got to have some power. Yeah, that's the worry. That's the worry, the cue ball. If he hits rail first, he doesn't scratch. He deflected so much, he caught ball first.
Foul.
After deflection comes reflection. Again, the cue ball goes into the pocket, and again, it's a gift for Yapp. A match of twists and turns. One of the best of the championship so far, both in terms of drama, quality, and incident.
Absolutely. Shot making, the whole 9 yards. I really haven't got a chance to look at Mohamed Sufi play. He must be a very good player, though, into the final 32, and now I had 9-7 over Mika Immonen.
Little more advanced towards the winning line. Wu Kunlin from Chinese Taipei, 10-2 up on Naoki Oi.
A big comeback for Zagaki over Lars. Now ahead a couple games at 8-6. This is all set up pretty nicely. He's going to stop his ball here and just track the cue ball a couple rails to the center of the table off the 7 to get to the 8 and 9.
One thing that really helps under pressure is technique, and it's dependable for Yapp.
And this may have gotten a hair off angle. He's got such a good stroke and real soft hands. I don't even know if he goes to the side rail here. He is. Nice shot. You could see he overcut the 8 to the pocket, helping the cue ball movement.
This is a cracker. It really is. When Shane Van Boening won 6 racks in succession and turned that 5-2 deficit into an 8-5 lead, you might have assumed that he was going to pull away without any great alarm. Not so now. The pressure's on. Table 11. It looked like at the start being a potential upset. Maybe not so now, because Lars Cookholm, who was well in front early, finds himself 9-6 down to Poland's Matthias Snigotsky. Daniel Maciol, one of Snigotsky's fellow countrymen, has also gone in front again on Albin Auschen. 7-6 it is. So Joshua Filler went out this afternoon. Is it possible Shane Van Boening and Auschen could follow him in the next session? It's possible. 3 giants could be tumbling.
Yeah, well, I think, you know, there's things that are kind of transpiring in the game, and I think it was you and I that talked about it when we had the change in our rules in the format. Little tighter pockets, the break rule changing. I think that next level down, or tier, or whatever you want to call it, from the real, you know, top guys are getting more time at the table. 16. They're getting to play more events because of Matchroom.
In favor of Mr.
So many things are better for them.
Mr. Yapp.
And they're going to evolve and start to catch these guys, and that's just kind of human nature.
Big break this.
Didn't get the connection. Now he did get a ball down, maybe even 2. Oh, the one's going to hang. I love that. That was more like the break we saw in the match against Melling. Pretty fortunate to get a kiss on the 7, a triple kiss on the 7 to get it down in the corner, and the 1 hangs.
He apologized to Shane Van Boening, but I was looking over at SVB. He's got a face like thunder.
Tricky little rack. What would be later on in the rack, the 5 to the 6. I don't think the 5-9 is that playable. Maybe playable but dangerous. Got to ease this. Yeah. And it spread on him a little bit, so this is going to have to attack in the corner, which isn't a problem, but again, the 5 to the 6 is going to be a tricky positional play. Cueing nice and low, so it should be that sweet stroke from Yapp. And makes the pocket a little bigger.
Van Boening sitting there thinking, why won't he go away?
Yes, he's going to try and shoot the gap between the 8 and 9 with the cue ball. That would make position on the 6 much easier, but a little dangerous trying to get there. You can see a guy that has a very good cue ball and a very good mind for position play. Taking a little more time here. That's a high ball there, so is he going into these? That may be the option. Now he's going to flick it with a little English. Yeah, I don't know if he likes it or not. I think it's okay. No. Yeah, I thought he was all right. You could see him kind of drop the cue a hair like he thought he had overhit it.
His reaction might have given Van Boening false hope.
Yeah, well, I think he wanted to spread the cue ball a little wider is what it was, and that way you don't have to worry about the speed as much. But here he's actually perfect.
You might have seen there from our excellent camera shot that there was chalk on the cue ball, but not asking for the referee to clean it. He did suffer a skid this afternoon against Chris Melling, but Yapp has got a better flow tonight, much better.
Little awkward stretch for the lefty.
what started out as the best of 21 racks is about to be reduced to the best of 5. And Yapp might be considered favourites because he will have the break. Parity is achieved. It was 1-1, it was 2-2, it was 5-5, and now it's 8 racks apiece. The defending champion under the cosh.
Okay, so all of a sudden, what looked like the weakness earlier for Yapp has kind of returned after breaking the balls very well throughout a good portion of the match. You could see the last break off wasn't his best, even though it was a break and run and now a dry break. The 2-3 is very awkward though, even if Shane can get at the one.
Yeah, that purple 5 ball wandered across the table.
Yeah, he's looking at rail first, and I'll tell you, to be able to move the cue ball, the side rail promotes a lot of speed, and of course the end rail does too as far as rail first, but you have to make sure you make the one. If you try to put a lot of speed on this rail first to get position on the 2, you could whiff the 1. Oh, he hit it great. Now he's not going to get exactly what he wanted, but still did pretty well. I see him double banking this 2 ball between the 8-9 past the 5 to the top rail, trying to do something with the cue ball, I believe. Is he looking at a double bank on the 2? I mean, he's always stays aggressive, and he's been uber aggressive in this match, but this may be a stretch. Caught the 9. He was trying to play a bit of a two-way shot, bringing the cue ball back behind the 7. And I'm not sure he got the snooker here or not. It's close.
There will be hampered queuing, of course, over the 3.
Back on top, 8-7. They've just been exchanging leads. I don't know how many lead changes there's been in that match. I think what he's trying to feel here is the cue ball, if he jumps it, where's it landing on the 2 or before the 2, and is he drawing up near that purple 5 and a possible scratch? The thing is, you really can't take your emphasis off pocketing this 2 ball. Oh, what a hit. What a hit. It's going to come clean enough, I think.
Let's quickly jump over to table 10. Woo Kun Lin on the verge, on the threshold of victory against Neo Kioi at 10-3. The 9 ball was very close to dropping in. Wu might have to wait.
Yeah, I don't know. He left that 6 ball awfully funny over the side. You can see Oi. what's going on here. Doesn't look like this rail first shot is very difficult. Now what he's worried about is, am I going to catch the 4 on the bottom side on the way out? So again, I wouldn't get so involved with the cue ball. I'd hate to miss this ball thick to the bottom point, trying to make sure the cue ball's a little bit more, you know, safe. I think he can hit it thin enough to go between the 7-4 with the cue ball and have a cut. Oh, he's just barely snookered. Is he gonna swerve this? Wow. That tells you how much he doesn't like the rail first. Should take on the cut, I would think. No, he's underneath this, so maybe it's way thin. Gotta believe he's going to shoot one way or another, even if it's the cross-side bank. I thought he could cut it in the lower left myself, but obviously not. He's going to play the safety. Oh, look at this. Does the 9-4 kiss off the 9? I don't think so, actually.
Three very simple victories for Shane Van Boening to get here. This, though, is a real workout. Even if he comes through, you will know he's been in a battle royal.
Look at this. Jumping over a close one and then another one far away. This has got to get a lot of air time here. Could fluke the 5 maybe as well. Cue ball should, if he does contact the 4, kind of go that way. The thing about this kind of shot, because you try to get into it so much, easy to miss hit the cue ball a little bit with a hair left, and if he does so, the ball could curve and not hit the pink at all. Oh, what a hit. What a hit. It's not going to work out how you wanted, but still, really nice shot.
That wasn't a jump, more like a leap.
Yeah, well, it's amazing how good the players are with the jump cue. Not only to get over those balls, to be able to predict to get it down enough to get the solid contact on the pink. Kind of shot when nerves are high, you don't release the cue as well, and you tend to hit the ball a little thick. Yapp's so solid fundamentally, I don't see that happening, but see a kiss shot on the 9 here to try and get to that lead at 9-8. Johan Chua, who's just kind of relaxed after making a ton of mistakes, to be fair, and has put a few together within striking distance, you might say, now at 10-6.
Yeah, Max Lettner led 10-3 there. As Jeremy said, Chua isn't finished just yet. You might recall we went over to table 10 briefly to see Woo Kun Lin against Naoki Oi. Well, Oi did win the 14th rack, so it's still on the hill for Woo at 10-4 now.
Well, he's gone a little further than ideal. Now he's got to play a much thinner hit. If he stays around the head string area, he hits this ball nice and thick, which is a much more comfortable way to shoot it. Still should be okay, but two things have to happen here. You have to shave it, and you can't let up on it too much. I'm not saying you're going to blast it, but you can't really baby it. It's sitting pretty nice, though.
Aloysius Yapp leads the title holder. It's 9-8. He's not been in front for quite some time, since 5-4 in fact. He's fighting hard, and Shane Van Boening could have a few headaches. The crown could be slipping. Just the kind of match, Jeremy, we wanted.
Kind of expected it as well. Ooh, we have a hill.
Yeah, Mika Immonen and Mohamed Soufi, Finland and Syria, have battled all the way to a deciding 21st rack. 10-10 there.
Yeah, now Ocean and Maciel must be in a real tactical battle on game number 16. It's been 8-7 for some time. Ocean in the lead.
As for this one, Van Boening has got previous against Aloysius Yapp. Remember that US Open victory for Yapp over him a couple of years ago in Atlantic City. It's not a case of the great man thinking, well, Yapp will weaken. He knows he probably won't. Now this is table 3. Max Lechner has got the opportunity he's been waiting for to cross the line. He's 4 pots away now from an 11-6 victory over Johan Chua as Yapp breaks off in the 18th.
He's got the one down. I don't think he's going to come away with a shot. Maybe he's got a little peek at it. I'd like to think not.
Max Lechner surely has to be in consideration for a Mosconi Cup call-up at some point. He's not thinking about a team environment now, though. He's thinking about purely winning the greatest individual tournament. And he's taken another step towards that. He has defeated Johan Chua 11-6. The Austrian goes through to take on either Naoki Oi or, much more likely, Woo Kun Lin in the last 16.
Push out called.
See him studying hard. Obviously, you can't ever leave anything easy on the push out. Looks like he's going to roll out and give up just the left side of the 2-ball.
Mr. Van Boening, your option?
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know. This, of course, he's going to try and shave this, but shaving it kind of runs you maybe into the 4 with the cue ball. We'll see. He's got to hit it awfully thin to cover the 2 up. That means trying to use the 7, 8, 5 ball as some type of protection as the cue ball goes up table.
He's been engaged in this kind of pool combat for over 5 hours now today. Aloysius Yapp. He came back from 6-3 down to beat Chris Melling. 8-5 down in this one.
Yeah, it looks to me he could get the 2 underneath the 8. That's the one that agrees, it looks like. Oh, he caught it thick. So Shane, as aggressive as he's been, is not going to be offense here, but happy to be to the table what looks like some control. Okay, the 7's there, so he really wants to creep him up on the 8 as he subtly moves the 2. If he can do that, this could be a difficult kick shot. Yeah, he's going to try and knock this in that upper right corner. He's supposed to go at this. You don't want to hit it 100 miles an hour, but give it a firm hit. Trying to hit it solid, create some movement. I like drawing into this ball a little more myself. Could follow. Some safeties in mind with a high ball. High ball you can scratch off the 2 in the upper left-hand corner as well. Masio has finally won that 16th game and tied that match at 8 apiece. All kinds of drama here in the first stage of the final 32.
Yeah, Aushin now back on level terms.
It's Mika Immonen, I can hear that. Oh wow, he missed it. Didn't expect that. Wow.
A shout of triumph, and you wouldn't have blamed Yapp for shouting in exasperation there. That's the last thing you wanted.
The last thing I expected really was to miss the kick. Very solid usually in that department. I'll tell you, I'm sure we'll see it here in a moment, but the guy at the table took away Mika Immonen's dreams of making that final 16 last year, and not the case this year. At least that's what it sounded like to us, that Mika Immonen's advanced.
Not true. He was beaten 11-10 by Mohamed Soufi. He must have been doing the shouting.
Wow. Totally wrong, because it certainly sounded like Mika even from this far away. Of course, yesterday when we heard it, I think it was yesterday anyways.
History
right
repeating itself. It's Groundhog Day, one day late, because Immonen in this round of the championship last year was beaten 11-10 by the man at the table from 10-3 up.
That's right. This is a little lighter than he wanted. It's going to work. Just got to pay attention, that's all. A little bit of Groundhog Day with that weather out there as well, if you've ever seen the movie.
Well, Punxsutawney Phil was right. He saw his own shadow, and that means 6 more weeks of winter. The way it is here, you think it might be 6 more months.
That's right. Very solid stroke there. Now this is a little funny. If he doesn't have much angle, he may be drawing towards the side pocket. If that's the case, he may play from underneath the 8. We'll see. This camera view will show us. No, he should be able to draw above the 8 to the side rail with not many worries.
Van Boening in the process of locking things up. Yapp failed to escape from a snooker unexpectedly. What wasn't unexpected, Van Boening taking advantage. It is 9-9, and of course now in the 19th rack coming up, he will break. So Van Boening has a marginal edge. So here's to clear up the confusion about the shouter. It was over on table 6. Mohamed Soufi winning 11-10 against Mika Immonen, a former champion of the world. The Syrian going through, and he couldn't contain his emotions, and who could blame him?
Yeah, absolutely. A very spirited young man, and saw him the last few days giving praise to a lot of players, a lot of his friends in the game, and very good for him to make it to the final 16, and congrats, and hats off to Mika with another fine showing. Keep plugging along, it's going to come. Lars making a comeback. Now 10-9.
Yeah, Lars Cookham just one behind Matthias Snigotsky. I can tell you, by the way, Soufi's next opponent tomorrow in the last 16 will be either Sebastian Badkowski or James Arenas. It's 10-8 to Badkowski.
Well, he's made a comeback too. He trailed a couple
number
games
19.
midway through that
We're
match.
currently tied at 9 games apiece. Mr. Van Boening to break.
Quickly, one other result. Wu Kun Lin defeated Naoki Oi 11-4. He now plays Max Legner.
All right. Oh, golden break. He had a few of those in that run to that title last year. What a time to have it.
Great champions have timing, and that was timing.
Yeah, it sure was. And he looked to have a decent shot at the 2 anyways, at least to play safe, but you can see a little emotion from Shane as well that you don't see a ton of throughout the tournament.
And now, just a moment or two after trailing, he's now breaking off for the match.
Yeah, and what a match it's been, Phil. Expected a close one, really. I think Yapp's the perfect demeanor and has the perfect game to just sit in here with all the big guns. He being a big gun himself. What a matchup we have coming up with Ko Ping Yi and J.O. Chang here in the next wave of the final 32. Sometimes you look at matches and you're not sometimes, more often than not in these tournaments, disappoints you have to lose one of these players.
It's a fantastic
Bracket number 20.
Friday at the pool.
Our current score is 10-9 in favor of
Is this one
Mr.
going
Van Boening.
all the way or not?
Mr. Van Boening to break on the hill.
A loud cheer for Matthias Snigotsky. He's beaten Lars Cookham from Germany by 11 racks to 9. It feels so good to perform on home soil and to not let your family, friends and many supporters down. Snigotsky most certainly hasn't.
Well, I'll tell you what he's done. It's the final 16 is the real position that anyone left can win the event. At least in my opinion, if they get going, maybe a little fortunate at times, you put yourself in position to have a good chance to hoist that trophy. Now you got to play well, and after a golden break, now a dry break. Drama in this match still. Can he get to his right side of the 1 to where he could overcut it between the 8 and the 3 and bring it below the 3-9 and run the cue ball back up table behind the 4 possibly? Touchy shot, but Albin Ocean's taking a 1-game lead at 9-8 with Daniel Maciel. So is that our first Polish player through to the final 16? Kielce hasn't won yet.
Yes, Nigotsky was the barrier breaker.
Now this is touchy. Only reason saying is you don't figure him to attack from here the way the balls lay, and if he plays a safety where the one stays on the bottom end of the table, if he doesn't get the snooker, there's a lot of defensive possibilities for SVB, and maybe some offensively as well. And I'm assuming he cannot get to what is his right side of the one. That seems like the safety route. Now he's looking at possibly attacking here on the one. He's going to try and stun 2 rails in between the 8 and 3. Now maybe he's playing it thick and banging the one around a couple rails and laying the cue ball down, but yeah, I don't know about this. Is he trying to come on to the 3-9 with the cue ball? I don't think that lays there, especially with a level cue stick.
2 1/4 minutes on this shot. There's no doubt over the last few racks the slow pace of play, which was prevalent against Chris Melling at times in the previous round, has re-emerged in the game of Yapp.
Yeah, now he's kind of elevated the cue. That makes a little more sense, even though still very touchy. Can't afford any ill contact on the 8 or anything like that. The cue ball may scratch. Now he's giving up a jump shot that he's not going to be too happy about. He was in between there. That was a tough situation. I thought anyways. I may have rolled out, or at least considered it. He's opened up the problem on the 7-8. Shane can't wait to jump this in.
What a crunch shot this is.
I think he's a little off angle, to where I'm not sure if he can hold position on the 2 or not, if he pockets the 1. Oh, what a shot. And he forced that forward, by the way. Normally when you jump the ball, it wants to draw a little bit more, right? He made that happen, that position, and what a shot by SVB. It's almost like trying to pretty much not be denied.
That would be an eye catcher in rack 1, round 1.
Oh, absolutely.
With the heat on Van Boening now, even more so. And they are there for him, Jeremy.
Yeah, I think he wants to fall fairly straight here, so, and off the rail a bit more. So he may force it a little bit here with speed. I think he got good enough. He's a little off angle, but I think he can hold the line on the cue ball. 4 has 2 pockets. A little touchy here. I wonder if he draws all the way the top rail by the 6 and back up for the 4. And what you saw, if you noticed the 2, he caught it a little thick to the pocket. That's why the cue ball didn't come out near as much. He's going to draw off the 8. And it's going to overcook it a bit. Well, don't think he's not banking at this. Maybe not, but he's got some safeties. He could cross the 4 over and lay the cue, go right into the 7 with the cue ball. He could use the 6 as well. I kind of feel like he's going to bank it myself. He's played aggressive the entire match. I don't think there's any reason to slow down. Asking for the cue ball to get cleaned.
John Lehman springs into action. You're quite right, he has played aggressively throughout the contest. That doesn't mean to say he's played recklessly. He feels that's the best approach.
Yeah, and I think, like I said, that's a lot of respect for his opponent. You know, you beat Shane a time or two, that's where you really gain the respect. You know, he notices great play, but that's the one that really sticks in the back of his mind. And he didn't want to have some tactical exchanges. He wanted to go ahead and keep Yapp in the chair as much as he could. And I'd be surprised if he elected to play safe here.
Flashes the ball in.
Yeah.
Cometh the hour, cometh the money.
Well, you know, I think as the game evolves, you're going to see even more players as the years come along that it's going to be more about keep knocking the ball in. Now, this is a tricky shot on the slick table. If you're coming one rail, he's going to come between the 7-9 because he didn't want to have to deal with the bend of the ball. So he's going to take it in his hands. He hit it too thick. Wow. Caught it a little too thick. That's surprising, too. It's a shot that is usually one of his strengths. Was he trying to go 4 rails here for the 6 in the short pocket? I thought he would just spread the cue ball up for the cut on the 6. He's going to go with the aggressive safety, I think, here. Coming 1, 2, 3 rails underneath the 9, back onto the 7-8. That's kind of what he was measuring. Should hit this somewhat thick. Like that. Needs to go a little bit. It's got to go. Yeah, there you have it. But you see how he played the 6 2 rails thick. That way it got away from the pocket just in case he didn't get the snooker, and he certainly didn't want to leave an easy jump. Now, Yapp, who last time in this position missed a kick shot we didn't expect. I think the kick shot's still to play 2 rails here. Left long rail, top rail coming across the 6. All kinds of good things can happen.
This is compelling viewing, it really is.
Well, that's the thing with the new format, the new rules, all the little subtle changes that Matchroom's put in place. When you catch the greatest players in form, that's when you really start to see the beauty of the game and how much there really is to it. I don't like this play with the jump cue, because you're going to want to hit a hair spin on this, and this can get away from you. Of course, these guys are so much better with the jump cue than the players from my generation. Now, what does he do with the jump? Does he try to play some safety? Does he bank it to the lower left? The kick shot lays real nice to come 2 rails across it, and you know, you could get the cue ball snookered up by the 7-8. Now, if he does jump, I like him trying to make it. Go for the bank. He may fluke something. He may fluke something. He's left enough pocket. We'll see if Shane can get it down. Natural position coming across.
He was watching intently, and when the balls came to rest, it just dropped.
Yeah, when you're close to the balls and you're going far away, easy to miss hit the ball a little bit, and then it curves. He definitely didn't want to come in from behind on that 6. Shane doesn't want to contact the 7 here. Really doesn't. That could make position from the 7 to the 8 a little awkward. This looks natural to me. Maybe not. Maybe the 9's a little more in play coming across the table. No, that was clean. That was clean.
In 1991 in Las Vegas, Earl Strickland successfully defended the World 9-Ball Championship title. No one's done it since. Is the dream still alive for Shane Van Boening? Using all of the pocket. And Yapp now knows his fate. If he misses this 9-ball, it would be astonishing. Hard as nails, Shane Van Boening. He was 8-5 up, but then he was 9-8 down in some form of trouble. But boy, did he produce when he needed it.